Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to our flight review of the Flying Egg. Okay, so I had one little kind of like a maiden flight that we're not going to bother putting up, but you know, just got me used to finding out what all the controls were for. This is your throttle trim here on the left side. This right one, I still couldn't quite figure out what it was for, but it probably has to do with front and backwards. But you'll hear a beep, and that means they're centered. So I would start off centered and then mess with your other buttons. Of course, it is power on and off. Now with this, to plug this in, make sure your power wire is on the side, on the inside like this, so this way it won't get caught in the leg, because these are spring-loaded legs, but you don't want to have any chance of binding it on the wires. So plug it in quick, put it down, and then turn your radio on, let it sit for a minute, and we're bound. Now I did figure out too, if you push down on the center stick here, it'll click, and then you can either move forward, backward, left or right for each direction of flip. Nothing happens with the left stick at all, and there seems to only be one cyclic mode, which actually it was a little windier out here earlier when I tried it out, and it flies really well in a mild wind. I had no issues at all. So let's get this thing over here, and let's put her up in the air for you. Now your black blades, at least on this one, are going to be for forward. Your orange blades will of course be reversed. But you can also tell that because of the picture face on the shell is your forward. Let's try that other dial here and see what it does. Okay, that's actually going to be for, appears to be forward and backward movement. I'm going to just bring this thing down.
Yeah.
Alright. Got a little high up there, sun got in my eyes. It's the only problem with silver, it'll reflect it. Now I'm just going to dump this thing, let it crash. This is crashing on the ground, on the grass, so it's going to be a bit of a soft landing for it anyhow. I'm not going to dump this thing on the concrete because that'd be just stupid. The rubber feet are kind of nice too on here. They help with some traction, especially for takeoff. You won't skate too easily. And as you see, as you work the throttle, that's what brings your arms up and keeps them up. I think that's actually really pretty kick, really. It's pretty cool. Even with the fact that this doesn't have a high and low cyclic for like a beginner mode to pro mode, the wind is just kicked up. My wife can get some footage of the trees. You can see what kind of wind we're dealing with here. I'll try and fly this guy forward here. So it's a bit windy out here, and this thing seems to be holding its own pretty good. Now, if you're not an experienced pilot, I wouldn't try this. I have tons of flying experience on quads, helicopters, and whatnot. So I'm pretty good at being able to fly these things in windier conditions, but I mean, for this kind of wind, I mean, I wouldn't even bring a 3-channel coaxial helicopter out here because it ain't going to move very far. But this quad seems to do a really nice job. So let's do another flip for you. There's another one. And we'll bring her back. we can do a closer one to the ground. So that's about as close. Probably about 10 feet and up would be good for doing flips with. It does recover quite quickly though. Let's see if we can get it to take off from the grass. It's not going to take off from the grass. Because these blades hang down the way they do, even short grass like what I've got here, it's not going to be adequate for takeoff on the grass. And you don't want to take off from your hand with this because the blade's pointing down, so keep your hands away from the blades. But I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this little guy. I was telling the wife I'm going to collect the other one too. They've got like a penguin type one. So I mean, as far as the build quality goes on this thing, it seems to be pretty good. The spring-loaded legs are pretty cool, so they're pretty crash resistant. Now they do rate the flying time, I think about 6 or 9 minutes. This is my first full battery I'm running through this, so I'll have to put a text block in or something, or just ask me and I'll let you know when I do a full flight on it. I am going to have to recharge the LiPo at least 2 more times so it holds full capacity, and that's something that's important to know about, is that the batteries will start holding full capacity after about 3 cycles usually. So you got to run the battery until the blades stop, and then let it cool down for about 10 minutes or so, and then recharge it. Do that 3 times, and then you'll definitely get full maximum flight time out of that battery. And as long as you drain it every single time till the blades stop, you're going to get the longest lifespan out of your LiPo batteries with these machines, whether it's a quadcopter or, you know, helicopter, whatever, you know. And I've been practicing that method for a few years now, and I have helicopters that have got hundreds of flights and still running the original battery and getting full flight time out of those machines. But this thing's pretty zippy. It seems to be built pretty good. I mean, dumping it on the grass, I mean, is no big deal. And it looks like that's it. So that's our flight time on the basic second charge. I topped up the battery, of course, out of the box, and so that would be like basically, you know, charge number 1. This is number 2. So I've got 1 more cycle I'm going to run through this, and then I'll get a really good idea of the full potential of flight time. Now the flight time, of course, is going to change between an outdoor environment and flying indoors. Because you're fighting wind, your blades have to keep up. It is a 6-axis gyro, so as the wind pushes it, you know, your blades will speed up accordingly to which ones need to keep things stable. It uses more energy. Okay, so in an indoor environment, you're not going to have to fight winds and stuff like that, so you'll get a little bit more flight time indoors and out. But you know what, I recommend this thing as a good indoor flyer in a large area, and definitely outdoors for sure. Even in this kind of wind, if you're used to flying quads and helis, you just saw it for yourself. I mean, we've got a bit of a wind going, and you know, even though I got some woods here, I'm still having to fight a good breeze up there, and it does a great job. Now it is a decently thick plastic shell on here. I wouldn't go dumping it on the concrete. That might damage it for sure, but dumping it on the grass, it's not going to hurt it. So, you know, if you're thinking you might crash or whatever, kill the throttle, let it dump. You'll save a ton of damage that way. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this, guys, and I definitely would recommend this thing. You know, they have right now 3 different versions. They have this one, the Bumblebee, as well as the Penguin. My wife has the Bumblebee, and she's got her videos she'll be doing on hers, and they are just the coolest, you know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Feel free to comment, ask questions, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.